Hello, this is Scott Loomis, your lively Tech for Learning regional manager. Been caffeinated and ready to go with what I consider a more meaningful beginning to end uh, final or summative assessment project. And in this case, we're looking at projects like interviews or point of view or public service announcements. And so often is the case, especially when it comes to more intermediate and middle school use, we see kids gathering information. And as a former teacher, I know that that piece of paper with the information on it doesn't always get looked at and stored as we would want it to, meaning that yes, from time to time the piece of paper disappears. I think if you utilize the graphic organizers within Wixie and then the built-in instructions or the ability to add instructions to blank pages, you have the capacity to create a template that from beginning to end houses all components of a project. And what do I mean by that? Let's take something as simple as, for instance, interviewing a famous person, maybe a state person, a character from a novel, if we're going to go with a fictional person. Maybe it's an element from the periodic table. It doesn't matter. But I start off as a teacher thinking, okay, if I'm going to guide my students, what can I do to help facilitate that? And for me, it means I'm going to provide the questions the kids need to ask, whatever, the person, the element, the character, whatever it is. And in this case, if I think of something like people, I may ask it maybe 6 questions. There may be 6 questions I want to ask the person, the character. So I start off my templates or my template by actually going into the templates folder within Wixie, opening up Graphic Organizer, and I think I'm going to do 2 pages of 3 for them to write notes in. So I look at the choices, and I actually right up there on top, the KWL chart meets my needs, and that when I open it, I can then customize it, and I have the beginning of my template. So right away, I'm going to start by changing, by unlocking, changing the phrase on top. What do I know to ask? When did you live? Or if I'm going to do people, let's just stick with people. I can't get complicated with elements and other things like that, improper fractions or something. When did you live? Or where did you live? Or whatever. Ask when and where. Now I'm thinking on the fly. When and where did you live? And maybe the next question is what made you noteworthy? Why? And I'm going to go ahead and I can go to the edit section and modify the properties so I can actually scale it. When and where did you live, maybe? Or actually, what made you famous was the next one. So I'm going to unlock it again, modify it, because the templates are set up for easy use for students. So I'm just modifying it. What made you famous? What did you do? Questions like that. And I'm not going to get into too much detail. I think you get the gist. I want to do 2 pages, as I mentioned, so I'm going to go ahead and right away come to the edit menu. I'm going to unselect that text object, and I'm going to duplicate this page. So when I go to the storyboard view, you can see I'm rocking 2 pages with the 3 grid question, and I'm going to put the first 3, obviously, and then the next 3. I may choose to bring in hyperlinks under the instructions. If we're doing characters from the Revolutionary War, for example, as far as historical figures, it could even be not only the American, but British. I may know a history.com website that lists those characters and information. Some states, most states study famous people, maybe in 4th grade, maybe in 5th grade, maybe again, there is a website with resources as far as the perfect link to go to get everything that all of my students would need if they each do something different. So I would include adding hyperlinks in the instructions. Now, you as the teacher can modify the hyperlinks. Your students can simply just view them. So they can't modify it, but they can obviously click on it. And also, if I don't identify to open to instructions, a student will open up to this and have no clue that there are instructions and or in this case hyperlinks. So I would go ahead and I would open to instructions, and I would do that for to all of them actually. And I could add an audio recording of whatever, but if these are just hyperlinks, my examples will work. As far as they don't need it read to them, they can just look at the hyperlinks, and I can give some directions just out loud to the group. Students would add text objects to add the notes, modify the text objects as far as the font size goes to fit in each space, and maybe I want them to identify at least 3 things in each. Whatever, again, my criteria based on the expectations I have for this particular assignment with these particular students. After that, I'm going to turn to page 2, which is my next set of questions. I'm going to insert 6 blank pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, if I go to my storyboard, I have 2 pages of graphic organizers followed by 6 blank pages. Now I'm going to return to page 3. I am going to modify the instruction. And then what am I going to add it to? I'm actually going to go to page 1. I'm going to add it to that where and when did I live. So I'm just going to do a simple highlight it because I don't want to do the text object so much as just the text. Go to page 3 and add the instruction. Ask your person, famous, whatever. I mean, whatever you want to do. You know, when and where did you live? So this way I'm guiding, okay, now take your information from the first field within your graphic organizer and answer this question, then draw an appropriate illustration. And page 2, the next question to ask the person, the next question, so on and so forth. So that when they're done, they have their interview, or like I said, maybe point of view, could pretend to be the person, in the 6 pages. And if I had 3 questions, I would do 3 pages. If I had 9, at 9. And maybe I do a 7th for just for anything extra you want to add. But then again, sometimes the anything extra can be that last part in your field. You know, what didn't we cover that is special about your person? Now, when the students are ready to publish, I would not delete page 1 and 2. Just because that's valuable, you know, that's like a bibliography, basically. I would recommend moving them, just click and drag. Oh, and you can see I missed it. So I'm going to move page 8 there, maybe. There we go. I would move the research to the back, again, to serve like a bibliography. So when the students are ready and begin to show their project, it would play the 6 pages, followed by the resources, which you could watch or just stop. And again, for me, I see a lot of use of the audio tool. So you can add the audio recordings per page, or if you want to go text, obviously, you know, hello, my name is Benjamin Franklin, except I should spell Benjamin, right? I can do a right click, thank goodness. I can actually, if I click away and select one, convert to a call out bubble as well. Or maybe a thinking bubble or, you know, rectangle, I choose. But I could do more like a graphic novel if I want to as well. The difference is that's going to be much more typing intensive compared to doing the audio recordings, which may work better for our primary and intermediate students compared to our middle schoolers who would have the option of rather recording an interview or something like that compared to doing a graphic novel. I'd give them choice and let them do what they want. And that's pretty much it. That's using the graphic organizers as a way to first gather information and then facilitate the transfer into an interview in which all components of the project are within a single Wixie template. And again, this template, this 8-pager, is what I would assign to students. File, assign, and I would assign to my kids. Very good. I hope you found this video to be of value, and have a wonderful day.